If there is a car that has a loyal following, it's the Toyota Allion and its twin, the Toyota Premium. When someone shoots us a message and they want a Toyota Allion or a Toyota Premium, we just ask them which variant or which engine size. We don't try actually to advise them about the pros and cons of the Toyota Allion, because people who want to purchase a Toyota Allion know what they want. Welcome back to 026 Motoring once again. My name is Bill CO2, and today I'll be taking you through a 2017 Toyota Allion review. So stick around until the end of this video, and if you're new on this platform, make sure you subscribe to this channel and check our car videos, blogs, and what are our services on 0to60motoring.com. Alright, 0to60 Motoring is a tried and tested platform that makes your car ownership journey easy. We basically scout and inspect and then help you during the car purchase process. So if you want to purchase a car, shoot us a message or ring us, and then we are going to advise you about a car, what to expect in its ownership journey, that is ownership cost and the maintenance cost, and possibly how it stacks up against the competition. And that way you make your car ownership journey easy. Alright, here we go. 2017 Toyota Allion review. The Toyota Allion is a popular car in Kenya, and every person, even the average Joe who is not into cars, will actually be knowing the Toyota Allion and its twin, the Toyota Premium, because they have been around for quite some time. For starters, Toyota Allion is a compact sedan that is produced by Toyota, and production started back in 2002, which actually formed the first generation, which was called the T240 series. The T240 series is same even to the Premium. It ran to around 2008, and then from 2008 they brought the T260 series, which has been receiving minor tweaks here and there in terms of a design from that 2008 until the moment. So whatever I'm reviewing here is actually called the Allion T265 series. So when the Toyota Allion actually changed the shape, because in December I brought a Toyota Allion from Mombasa for 2.1 million shillings, the price actually, let me say, shot up, because currently if you want a good grade Toyota Allion, something like what I'm driving here with 60,000 kilometers on the clock, and it's an Allion 18 with every possible feature an Allion should have, the price tag will actually be around 2.5 million shillings. So when I'm looking at that price hike, from the old shape to this one, of course, which is a little bit, a few minor tweaks here and there in terms of the design up front and the interior, there is a price difference of 350,000 shillings. I don't think that that price difference is worth it, but I'll be coming into that in a few moments. So if you'll be purchasing the 2017 Allion, the engines remain pretty similar for what the 2016 or the older versions have. At the base, you have a 1.5 liter in the Allion A15, which is actually what you'll be finding in the F package of the Toyota Premium. Next up, you have a 1.8 liter in the Allion A18, which is actually the equivalent of the X package in the Toyota Premium. And then the top of the range will be a 2 liter naturally aspirated petrol engine, which is found in the A20, or if you like in the Premium it will be called the G version. All those engines are 1.5 liter, 1.8 liter, 2 liter. They don't have turbos or superchargers, so they are actually natural aspirated. And now when I'm saying they are natural aspirated, they will be actually be having one of the best reliability index when you're looking at the class, but I'll be coming into that in a few moments. All those engines, 1.5 liter, 1.8 liter, and these and the 2 liter, they are actually paired to a CVT gearbox. There is no manual transmission for these Allion 265 series. So primarily the Toyota Allion is normally a two-wheel drive car or a front-wheel drive car. So basically the engine sends power to the front wheels, but sometimes you can actually find it with an all-wheel drive system. And for this specific car, this Allion T265 series, it's actually in this car, power is distributed to all the four wheels via CVT gearbox. So this is an all-wheel drive, or if you like, a four-wheel drive variant. And most versions if you want a four-wheel drive Allion or a Premium, you will actually find most of them are normally coming with a 1.8 liter. So for this 1.8 liter, it's easy actually finding a four-wheel drive system compared to maybe a 2 liter or even a 1.5 liter. When I'm looking at the three engine options, that is the 1500cc in the Allion A15, 1.8 liter in this Allion 18, and the 2 liter in the Allion A20, I find that this Allion A18 it's the sweet spot of the range, basically because it has more power than the 1.5 liter in the A15, and then the fuel efficiency is better than what the 20 will give you. Of course, I'll be coming into the fuel figures in a few moments. Now, when I'm looking at the drivability of this car, the acceleration of this car is very smooth because the CVT here actually has a very smooth transition. You don't feel like it's really struggling, especially for a flat surface like this one. But then another thing you may want to learn is that when you try to hit this car, you try to pin the gas pedal hard, there will be, of course, some loud sound, of course, coming from the CVT. Those are typical fake CVT mounts. They are pretty common with cars which have a CVT gearbox. I also experienced that in Subaru Outback. Now, when I'm looking at when I try to gun this car harder, for example, now I'm accelerating, this is now 85, this is now 100 kilometers per hour. At 100 kilometers per hour, the car still feels okay. What I really don't like about the handling of this car is that speeds are maybe above 120 kilometers per hour, because above 120 kilometers per hour, the car feels wobbly and it feels very light actually. If you've driven an Allion or a Premium, you know what I mean. So I'll say that this car is better driven at speeds below, let me say 130 kilometers per hour, because there is also another element of braking. Of course, I'll be coming into that in a few moments. When I'm looking at the handling of this car, of course, the steering wheel actually does a very good job. Of course, I miss the wooden finishes from the 2016 Allion, but then these what the new shapes I will be coming with. This black with, I think, some hard rubber here. So the Toyota Allion is not a fast car, but I'll say at least for this 1.8 liter, when you are like two people in the car, it actually has a very good acceleration, at least for the average person. You don't feel like it's underpowered. For the A15, the flaw I realized with it's that when it's actually fully loaded, or it has 5 passengers and some luggage on the trunk, it may actually feel a little bit underpowered, and that's why I was saying this 1.8 liter is actually the sweet spot of the range. But still, if you don't mind paying a little bit more in terms of at the fuel pump, in terms of fuel, the Allion A20 can still be actually a wise choice. One thing I really don't like about this Toyota Allion is its braking capability. I think it has one of the poorest braking systems in this class, and basically it's because for this car, at the front you have disc brakes and at the rear you have drum brakes. So when you will be doing a speeds, let me say like 130 basically above 100 kilometers per hour, I'll advise that you better keep a safe distance between you and the car ahead of you, because it's easy actually rear-ending the car in front of you. So one thing I really don't like about this car is its poor braking system. I feel like at 2.5 million shillings, at least we should have disc brakes both at the front and at the rear. So how does the Toyota Allion look like when it comes to fuel consumption? I drove this car for a distance of 510 kilometers from Mombasa to some destination in Nairobi, and I had fueled this car to the brim at Mombasa. So after covering a distance of 510 kilometers, there is a gas station near my place. I filled it with 34 liters. So when you are looking at 510 kilometers and 34 liters of fuel consumed, if your primary school mathematics teacher was one of the best, that division should give you around 15 kilometers per liter. So for my driving, the average fuel figure over that journey was 15 kilometers per liter for this Allion A18. Now, 15 kilometers per liter for this car may actually be higher for some people, because sometimes I was actually trying to gun this car to a little bit save on some few minutes. So if you drive like an elderly person, or you drive a little bit sensibly, you should actually be able to register more figures than that 15 kilometers per liter. Now 15 kilometers per liter is actually pretty good fuel economy for this car, because if I should give another car for reference, I've driven a Mazda Xela a couple of times from Mombasa to Nairobi. A 1.5 liter will actually be giving me 15 point something kilometers per liter. So for a 1.8 liter giving me those figures, I don't think it's bad fuel efficiency. And considering that most people will be purchasing this car, the old folks, most probably who drive sensibly, they'll actually get better fuel efficiency. Now let's talk something about the design of this 2017 Toyota Allion. if you are keen, you realize that for the year 2016, the transition to 2017, there are a few tweaks here and there in terms of the body design of this car. Of course, there are tweaks in the interior and the exterior, but let's start with the exterior. Up front here, we realize that it comes with a more aggressive grille, because the previous one actually used to look a little bit conservative. And then this one actually has slimmer headlights. Because this car is dirty, but it's because I took it to a car wash, but then it has been raining, and the places I've been moving to, the roads are not that good. So apart from this grille and the headlamps here, which have been tweaked, you have these chrome finishes down here, of course, and let me say a lip that actually moves to the front a little bit, of course, to give this car a more aggressive look. Now on the side profile, there is not much that is changing, because I don't think actually there is something that is changing. You have this side mirror winkers here. There are no chrome finishes on this car, and this car actually comes with these are 15-inch wheels, but then for the high trim levels, you can actually find them coming with actually 16-inch alloy rims. On the rear side, you will realize that this Allion also comes with different tail lamps. I'm not sure whether they are looking good, but that is how they look like. You have this Allion badge here, Toyota badge, A18 badge, of course, and this Valvematic badge here to tell you the technology of which these are 1.8 liter or it's using. How does the Toyota Allion look like in terms of the cabin? For this 2017 version, they of course brought in a few tweaks here and there. Of course, the previous one used to have some variations, used to have the steering control buttons, but they were not as, let me say, a little bit fancy as these ones. What I've realized that they have added into this car is this button here, which is for lane keeping assist. Of course, it's very poor. I've used it a couple of times. It's not as accurate as what other brands have, but at least Toyota have really tried that. They have improved that one. And then another thing they have actually added is this collision mitigation system here. Of course, I've seen the car warn me a couple of times, especially when making those swift overtaking moves, and at least for that one it works. Now for the interior, there is nothing much. The infotainment screen still remains pretty similar to what the other one used to have. There are a bunch of fake wood and finishes down here, of course, for those looks. You have two cup holders here. Accommodation in this car is not that bad. In terms of a space, the headroom is okay. I'll say it's okay for an average person like me. Knee room is also pretty okay. So that is how the Allion looks like. I feel like for 2.5 million shillings or 2.4 million shillings, we should get something that actually makes sense, because 2.5 million shillings is not a cheap or is not a small coin. For this car, it actually comes with this traditional or manual key, which some will actually be coming with the keyless entry. And another thing you'll realize for this car is that the gauges here or the display will actually be looking quite different from the other ones. And then because of they have added more functionalities on this steering wheel, even what you'll be reading here in terms of the cluster readings will actually be, let me say, there are more functions than what the previous version used to have. Let's see how the second row seat looks like and the boot. For the second row seat, maintaining my driving position, this is how passengers in this rear seat will be faring on. It's not that bad in terms of knee room, because I don't think passengers will be struggling. For this middle seat, I don't think it's that comfortable, and this car is actually a four-wheel drive. There is a drive shaft that actually makes this middle seat here not that practical, apart from for kids. Now, how does the boot space of this car look like? You can actually open this boot from this key. You long press it that way, and it's going to open to some level. So this is how the boot space of this car looks like. I don't think it's that bad. It can actually carry your luggage without any struggle. And good thing with the Toyota Allion and the Toyota Premium, which I really like these days, they actually come with let me say a spare wheel. It's down here, a donut spare wheel. Most manufacturers these days will actually not be giving you a spare wheel down here. Instead, they will be giving you a repair. That is a repair kit. That is a pump and those arsenals. But a donut spare wheel will actually be more practical than all those other things, because once the tire has a problem, you just need 5 minutes and you'll be good to go. But for the repair pump, unless and otherwise it is something like a slow puncture, you can actually sleep in the forest. So the Toyota Allion specifications of the trims are A18, A15 and the A20 will actually be varying in terms of specs, but the primary difference between the 18, A15 and the 20 is the engine displacements. Now the Allion and the Toyota Premium are actually one and the same car, exact replicas. The only things that are changing is actually the body in terms of how it looks at the front, that is at the lights and at the back, but mechanically everything is identical. So you can actually say that they have a similar mechanical DNA, and that's why I was saying last time, if you have money and you want to purchase a Toyota Premio, you better save those little coins and purchase a Toyota Allion, because they are one and the same thing. And if a Toyota Allion is overrated, then it means the Toyota Premio will be overrated by a bigger margin. So in terms of value for money, the Toyota Allion will be better value for money over the Toyota Premio. I've answered that one because I know very many people will be actually trying to ask me about it. So this is the 1.8 liter. It's actually called the 2ZR. The 1.5 liter is called the 1NZFE, and then the 2 liter is called the 3ZR engine. Of the three engines, I'll say the 1.5 liter 1NZFE is the most reliable engine, but even for these 2ZR and the 3ZR, actually they are also trouble free. You will not be having many problems. This car can actually run to 200,000 kilometers and without actually bringing out any problem whatsoever. So if you are in the market and you want to purchase an Allion 18 or a Premio X package and you realize that it has a high mileage, that should not actually scare you. As long as the car's condition is good, you are good to go. So these are 1.8 liter 2ZR is actually paired to a CVT gearbox or continuous variable transmission. So basically, when that transmission has hit kilometers around 150,000 kilometers, it is recommended that you do a CVT oil flush. Basically, a CVT oil flush means you flush the oil that is in the transmission and you replace it with a new one. So basically, I think that is the biggest maintenance thing you'll ever do on a Toyota Premio. Basically, the rest are actually very simple and it will not actually trouble you. And if you are swapping that transmission, make sure you use a CVT flush oil, not ATF, because if you use ATF in place of a CVT, your gearbox is actually going to go wrong or go bad. And that actually is going to be an expensive repair in the north of 90,000 Kenyan shillings. Majority of the Toyota Allions will be two-wheel drive, but this specific variant is a four-wheel drive. So what is the advantage of having a four-wheel drive over a two-wheel drive Allion? Basically, if you are living up country where the roads may not be that good, at least you will be guaranteed that all the four wheels will be powered. So it's easy actually navigating through mud or through rough terrains in a four-wheel drive Allion than even a two-wheel drive Allion. Another thing you may want to learn is that even on the highway, when it comes to handling, especially when it has rained, these are four-wheel drive Allion actually has more traction or has more grip than the two-wheel drive Allion. So that is the advantage of having a four-wheel drive Allion. Of course, sometimes there are stories around fuel efficiency of the four-wheel drive being higher than fuel consumption of the four-wheel drive being higher than the two-wheel drive. But what I've learned is that it boils down to your drivability, and then if there is a difference, it can only be something negligible, if you ask me. So if I was to purchase a Toyota Allion or a Toyota Premio 1.8 liter, I'll pick the 265 series. That is the four-wheel drive version and not the two-wheel drive variant. So is the Toyota Allion value for money? As Bill CO2, I don't think I'll place 2.5 million on a Toyota Allion, because there are better cars out there with more technology, more features, and even with the same reliability index. But still, for the old folks or someone who wants something that has of peace of mind or lives in the village, a Toyota Allion is actually a very good car for them, because for them, movement from A to B is actually pretty okay, and that is what the average person is actually looking for. So for me, or I'll say for other youths, I'll say that it's better looking at other cars with fancier features and more power, maybe better braking system, better technology, better driving dynamics over this car. But still, for someone in the village who wants something that is actually simple to maintain, I'll say that an Allion will actually not disappoint, because even when you're looking at the maintenance of the Toyota Allion, it's pretty cheap, because an oil change will cost you around 4,000 shillings, an air filter, oil filter, and basically a minor service on this car will actually cost you less than 8,000 shillings. And in the village, you will not miss those things, especially when you want to service your car. So I think for someone who's in the village, it may look like value for money, but for someone like me who has a little bit of experience in the car industry, 2.5 million shillings should actually give you something better. So if you have a 2.5 million shillings and you want something that is fancier than a Toyota Allion, that budget should actually get you into something like a Nissan Skyline Infiniti Q50 if you like, with a Mercedes borrowed 2-liter turbocharged petrol. It can also get you into a Mazda Tenza, that is a 2-liter. If you tweak the budget a little bit, you can even get it to a 2.5-liter. There is a possibility of also getting into something like you can also get into something like a Mach X, that is if you are not into fuel efficiency. And then if you want something that is a little bit raised at 2.5 million shillings, you can purchase something like a Honda Vezel, maybe a Mitsubishi RVR, something like a Nissan X-Trail. If you are a family person, it will give you 7 seats. And maybe a Mazda CX-5 2.2 turbo diesel, that is if you want fuel efficiency. So when you are looking at the 2.5 million shilling mark, there are a lot of choices actually for you. It's only that maybe if you want to remain old school, that is the only reason you may be settling for a Toyota Allion, because 2.5 million shillings can also get you into some serious cars. So if you want a simple sedan that won't break the bank in terms of maintenance cost, and it's a fuel efficient and reliable, then perhaps you can actually look at this Toyota Allion. And I think it actually has that peace of mind, and that is why it is going to have those loyal followers. There are those people who want a car for A to B movement. They are only interested in reliability, fuel efficiency, and something that it will actually be simple to run. And those are the folks I was talking about, who are the loyal clientele of the Toyota Allion, or its twin, the Toyota Premium. I think that review can actually help you shape up your decision if you wanted to purchase a Toyota Allion A18. If you want the Allion A15, there is a comprehensive review on our platform, but that one is for a 2016 version. But then there is not much that is changing between that 2016 and this 2017, apart from the few tweaks here and there in terms of design. The engines actually remain pretty similar. If you are new on this platform, make sure you subscribe and share this video to your friends. That is enough for today, guys. Bye for now, stay safe. See you on the next one on 0 to 60 motoring.